Gonna work this time, yeah, hopefully. Yeah, let's see it. Okay, this is the third attempt. This is Uncle stuff. And today I don't have a good title for what I'm going to talk about. Except, surprising to me, you can clone a Windows C drive, that is the operating system drive, with where it typically holds all of your installed applications or programs. You can clone that drive and move it to another computer, and it doesn't seem to matter who the manufacturer is that other computer. You could take the C drive out of that computer and put your clone drive in, and it will sort of work. I'm trying to repeat what I just said because it was startling to me that I didn't think it would work at all, but it did. Again, I had a situation where I had been given a Linux Dell system. It had lots of processors and lots of memory, but it was running Linux. And unfortunately, that system didn't let you to do a operating system boot from a USB thumb drive. So after having scratched my head and looked at Linux and everything, I'm sure there was some way, if you knew more about Linux than I do, you could have done it, but I couldn't come up with anything. And I said, okay, well, if I clone my system's existing gateway C drive, which does have at least Windows 10 on it, and I move it over to this, I move it over to the Dell system. I move it over to the Dell system. It may at least let me come up, and I'll deal with the issues that I have at that point in time. And why all of a sudden I have a problem with my I'm going to leave it at that. I'll deal with the new issues that come up. And so that's what I did, and I did not expect it to work. I did not, but it did. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble all of a sudden. I just need to stay still. So I took out the drive that was in the system I had inherited that was running Linux, set it aside, took this clone drive from my gateway computer running Windows 10, installed it into a Dell computer, and didn't expect to do anything except give me a green screen of death. That's what I expected, but it didn't do that. It came up and it said, please wait. And part of the differences between the two was the video controller. It didn't even have the same video card in both in the source computer and in the destination computer. Even the video card was different, but Windows has a generic video controller it can use in situations like this. And that's what it did. And it looked at what hardware I had, looked at its inventory of drivers and said, oh, I got a driver for that. This is what hardware is here. Maybe the guy changed his video card. Maybe he changed his Ethernet adapter or a Wi-Fi adapter. Anyway, it made those changes for me on most everything. Again, it blows my mind because I didn't think it was going to work at all. All I was trying to get was at least get something in there that the hard drive had to be in Windows or Microsoft formatting. And if I could get that in, perhaps I could then boot from a USB stick that would let me write something onto the hard drive that was installed in that old Linux computer. That was my idea. I wasn't expecting Windows to come up at all, and it probably would fail or it says, whatever. But I would get an opening to that hard drive, and may be able to do a boot to my BIOS setup. I could boot off of a thumb drive or do something. Anyway, it came up, and once I got it up, and yes, there were some drivers that needed to replace, and all I kept doing was do check update, and it literally found them all. I'm not sure I had to go to Dell to get any real driver updates. I did update the Ethernet adapter to what they said was the current version. It's been amazing that apparently Microsoft over the years, they have a massive inventory of drivers, and they're able to identify when they do a scan of the hardware which driver is right for the currently installed C drive on the computer. This is the third time I've tried to record this, and it probably reflects on the difficulty of what I'm trying to convey to you. Let me give you a quick example. You have an older computer, it will not run Windows 11, 10, whatever, because it doesn't support the hardware that's installed in your computer. Okay, so what are you going to do? You're going to buy a new computer. Okay, now you got a new computer that's running Windows 11, but now you don't have access to any of your programs that you bought and installed on an old computer, and you don't have access to the data that's installed on that C drive on the old computer. So here's maybe one option for you. You probably have to buy or have somebody do it for you. You could clone the C drive, the operating system and programs drive. That's what I call C drive. It contains the operating system and programs. And maybe some of your data. I don't know. It depends how you set things up. You can clone that, take out the hard drive that's in your brand new system and set it aside carefully. Install this clone, and I don't think much matters where it comes from, what manufacturer or anything. Put it in there and boot it up, and it may work. It may work enough that you or somebody else could sort it through, and you would have all of your programs or most of the programs. Some may say, well, I recognize this a new installation, so you got to buy another copy or something. I don't know. That could always happen. I'm just amazed. I'm telling you that I've now moved a clone of a old gateway system, to 3 different Dell systems, actually two versions, and it has come up. It has found most of the problems and installed the correct drivers. And I'm able to get to the internet, and I have run system file check on things. Of course, I'm constantly doing Windows update to make sure that it's picking up everything, and sometimes it finds optional updates that are drivers, and it works. So I don't know what to call this except amazing. Windows is actually, used to be a nightmare to try to, if you bought a motherboard and you were building your own computer. I don't even want to talk about the mess you had to get into with that. But here's a case where Windows is smart enough to look at your hardware and determine that you need this driver as opposed to what's installed. To install it, it may start and stop a few times, reboot itself a few times. But it came up useful enough that I can use it. And surprisingly, most of the programs, not all, but most, will continue to operate. They're not saying, well, you reinstalled on another machine, you need another copy, or this has not been, you haven't, what's the proper term? You haven't, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You haven't activated it yet. It may say, oh, you haven't activated it. Anyway, I don't know what to call this. I'm telling you, it's worth a try. Again, or you have a dying computer and you want to get all the data off of it. It would be good if you made it. You can do a disk drive copy, but that is not the same as a clone. A disk drive copy at least might let you get to your data you could then maybe pull into the new computer, at least the data. If you did a clone, you get the operating system, all the programs, and if you have data stored on the C drive, you get all of that in the clone. Moving into the new hardware, if it doesn't work, you have not hurt your hardware at all. You just pull it out, make sure all the power's off to everything, of course, and put the drive that you got with that new computer back in, and do it the old way where you have to reinstall your programs. Somehow use thumb drives or however you want to do it to get your data over to the new computer. But I'm just amazed. Now, I have some problems. I have some file sharing issues, but I expected that. All of the Ethernet drivers and wireless drivers are now up to date. May not be configured perfectly correctly because there's 1,000 different settings and everything inside of Windows or Linux or anything else. And one setting and a wrong setting will cause everything to, I don't know what to call this. Windows is amazing in its adaptability to its hardware environment. Maybe that's the title I'll call this. Windows operating system is adaptable to its hardware environment. And that means you can basically clone it from one manufacturer's computer and move that drive over to another manufacturer's computer, install it as a C drive, and Windows will try to do something. It will try to adapt itself to the hardware of the new computer. That's what I'm going to call this episode. Today is I think it's the 9th of October, 2025. This is Uncle Ron and stuff. I hope nobody will everybody will try this. I'm just amazed it worked at all. And now I got a couple little tidbits to clean up. Hopefully, every time I do anything, I'm always worried it's not going to work again. But so far it does. So that's it for me. Hopefully this is recorded with audio this time. Bye-bye.